Hi everyone, I'm Laura.
I'm Steph.
And welcome into Sister Circle podcast.
Welcome.
The circle where as women we share,
Learn,
grow,
heal,
and thrive.
Hi everybody. Welcome to the new circle. Hi Laura. Before we start, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owner of the Gadigal land of the Euro Nation on which we are recording today. I would like to pay my respect to the elders past, present and emerging. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, today is episode 3. It's our guest spot for the Women and Career series, and I'm super excited because we have a guest today, and it's a special guest of mine. We have Florence 𝗩𝗓𝗄𝗧𝗔𝗚𝗓 with us.
Bonjour.
Welcome, Florence.
Hello.
Hi Florence, welcome to the sister podcast. Welcome to the circle.
Thank you. And thank you for welcoming me. I'm so excited to be here tonight.
Oh, great.
We're excited to have you.
How are you?
Yes, good. A bit tired because I woke up at 5, but other than that, all good.
Oh,
And why did you wake up at 5?
Yes, I wonder why. I just have a little housemate. He's about this size. He's 3 years old and he likes to wake me up at 5. I don't know why.
Please, could you please introduce yourself for our listener today?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm Florence. So I've been living in Australia for 12 years now. What else? I'm married, as Laura mentioned. And I have 3 kids. So the eldest is 3 years and a half. His name is Alex. And then I've got twins who are like 15 months, 1 year and a half. So
Wow.
Jules and Hugo. Wow. Yes. So that's it's pretty full on.
Very full on. We start the podcast with a bit of a question for our female guest. Well,
Okay.
every guest here is female. I mean, it wouldn't be like that if Laura would have her way.
It's all about inclusion, you know?
So, who was the last woman who inspired you
And why?
Okay.
and why?
Okay, there's just quite a few, but just to pick one, I'd say it's probably my mum.
Oh,
Yes.
that's very dear.
Sorry, no one knows my mum. It's not going to be very relatable, but
But it's still nice.
but it's just, yes, I don't know. She gave me everything that I am now, like all the values that are helping me to navigate tough times, and whenever there's like, very challenging times, I always have her, and I know I can call her anytime, and she's just always fighting for us, always, I don't know, she's my rock.
So, was that throughout your life as you left home, or was that just as you became a mother?
As I became a mom, our relationship just became very strong.
Okay.
I don't know why. It's like a circle that just closed back. All of a sudden, I was like, wow.
Wow.
It's very cliche, but I said, thank you, Mom. Just because you realize, it's a lifetime of unconditional love, and she's always here for me, no matter what. Even though we went through very tough time, like our relationships it hasn't always been perfect. But yeah, no, just becoming a mom just brought me so much closer to her. It's just it's making you, having kids, it's making you question everything. And that's when I just have to refer back to all the, the education that she's given me throughout the years, and just okay, so I really want to see this in my sons. I really want to teach them this. Just reflecting back on everything she's given me, because this has really helped me in life, and this and this. Yeah, I think.
Oh, that's great. I love
Amazing.
that. Florence, you're our special guest for our series today. And our series is Women Rising's Career Chronicle. So it's all about women and careers. And I think it would be good to also have a bit of an introduction of your career path, just understanding what you've been through.
Okay, so I started, so when I graduated, I always knew what I wanted to do. It was like I wanted to do customer research because I love talking to people and exploring their behavior, attitudes. Why are you doing this like this? What's motivating you?
So, sorry, what did you graduate in?
I graduated as an agriculture engineer.
Okay.
Nothing to do. But although I did study like agribusiness towards the end, so that's where I got exposed to market research.
Yeah.
And that's where I actually, now thinking about it, it's when I met this woman in Canada where I was doing my 6-month internship. That's when you finish your 5-year study. I met this woman who was, she had her own business and she was doing market research. And she just like was talking about research with so much passion. She was like a bit of a role model for me. And I remember I was living by myself in Canada. It was like Nova Scotia. It's like this peninsula lost on the east coast of Canada. And we were both like, it was quite isolating, you know, and we were meeting like every week at this pub and just like having this very... I don't know, it was very enlightening conversation for me because she was so much older. She was like probably 20 years older. But I just really looked up to her and I was like, oh, yes, that sounds like really fascinating. So that's just how I got exposed to market research and then really wanted to make it my job. So I started working in London for like 6 months and then in Paris for 12 months, still in market research, and then moved to Australia. I just left my job in Paris. My dad was furious. He was like, what are you doing? Like, you got like you're leaving your job. You have nothing in Australia. What are you doing with your life? But
How old were you at the time?
I was like 25, I think, 26 when I arrived in Melbourne. Mm-hmm. And then in Melbourne, I looked for a job, like very, very conscientiously. Ooh, that's a tough word.
Conscientious. Now you got my tongue twisted. Conscientious. Wow.
Conscientiously.
Conscientiously.
Yes, thank you. I'm not going to try. You guys said it perfectly. So then I was in Melbourne. I was very eager to start working, but it was really hard because, in market research, you have to write report in English. You have to do presentations. And my English just wasn't good enough to do this kind of jobs. So I had to take a step back for 6 months and then got an opportunity to finally do research again.
What was the step back for?
It was doing survey programming and data analysis. So, so no exposure to clients and no exposure to running focus groups. Things like this where you really need, a good level of English. And so I guess I was quite driven at that time. I was like, yes, I'm in Melbourne, this new city, and I got back into research. So really motivated, got some great mentor along the way. And then our company got bought out by EY and Ernst & Young. So I just landed in this big ivory tower in the middle of the city, and got thrown into the big corporate world. I guess you can say that. And again, I was really motivated because I got access to all these trainings and great projects and great clients. I was really into it. And then moved into social research because that's where I wanted to specialize to really, work on very social topics rather than commercial market research. And then we moved to because then I met my partner. He got promoted for a job in Sydney, so we moved to Sydney. And that's when I moved to Ipsos Public Affairs, still doing social research, so it was great. But at the same time, tick, 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 I don't know, I really wanted a baby at the same time. So
and how old were you at the time?
I was probably... I was 20... Oh, no, hold on. I was 32. And yes, then I got pregnant. And I remember before getting pregnant, my director at the time, my manager, telling me, wow, Flo, it's really good that you got all this career behind you before having a baby. Because from my experience, you have a baby and then it's hard to go up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought, Like, without knowing what it's like to be a mother or to have, babies to look after, I was like, oh, really? I mean, no, surely you have a baby, but you're still the same person. Surely you can still work and progress in your career.
Well, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah.
Was he a male or was it a female?
Female.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I tried going back to work. And then it's just, I don't know, some part of my brain were just like, I didn't have my whole brain anymore. It was like some part of it was constantly thinking about the baby.
Well, okay, you had to split it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just didn't have the same space to focus on work.
Okay. I'm loving this conversation.
So, like, you took a maternity leave, right?
Yes.
So how long were you like with your baby, taking care of your baby, spending time with seeing your baby grow, and then you going back to work?
Yeah, so I initially I wanted to take 9 months with the baby, and it was going really well. I really enjoyed it, but at the same time I was eager to go back to work, just to have like some adult conversation,
Yeah.
to have a coffee without any distraction, and just to like control that space, that's my desk and there's no one that's going to be like interrupting me or
touching things.
Yeah, exactly. In control.
That's so interesting. So then that was for you to like claim back the time for yourself and the space for yourself.
Yeah.
Going back to work.
Exactly.
Giving it to your employer.
So, yes. But having said that, I did develop some efficiency skills. I found myself a lot more efficient with work than before.
But they do say that about. Well, I mean, I've heard people say that nobody in any company has brought to that yet. Where they do say that you being a mother is a full-time job and you gain a lot of skills.
It still means you need to, when you need to leave work, you still have to go to childcare by like 6 p.m. Like you can't. So that makes you more efficient because you really have to leave the office. Like there's no way you can, you have to finish the work by 4:30 or 5 p.m. or whatever.
Yeah.
And
it sounds like, maybe you tell me, obviously you say efficient. My head is saying that makes me more exhausting.
It's just, I can't wait. It's like, it's 8 p.m. and like everyone's in bed and it's like, oh, finally, just quiet. I don't even want to talk to my husband.
Wow.
We just want to have our own time separately. It's just like, okay.
Yeah, that's your time.
Reclaim your time.
Yeah, that's a time back for yourself, which is understandable.
Yeah.
So bring us back to, you go back to work. You have your baby. Now you're thinking that your brain is like still like there's a part of your brain focused on your baby. And what does that mean for you? You want to like take some time off? You want to like take more time in maternity leave? You want to like change job? What does that mean?
Yeah, so it's funny because the first time around I was eager to go back to work. Like I asked my boss if I could return 2 months earlier. And that was fine. But the second time around with the twins, I wanted to take as much time as possible. And I don't know, I felt a lot more comfortable in being a mom.
Okay.
I don't know, the first time it's a bit brutal in terms of like identity. I was like,
oh. Wow. Yeah. What is that? What is that transition like?
Yeah, it's like, what? I'm a mom now? Like, I don't know. It's really confronting. It's like, it's almost like, a teenage crisis. It's like, wow, I have to refigure it all out.
Oh, you mean 16? Oh my God,
yes,
yeah. Being 16 and transitioning into, now I have to make the decision for myself. Yeah.
I'm trying to find out, like, what kind of mom do I want to be?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I had a bit of a hard time the first time around, but second time around, I was like, yes, I've got this. A lot more comfortable and at peace, I guess, with being a mum, and what kind of mum I want to be as well.
So what does that mean when you say what kind of mom I want to be as well? Like, and how is that conflicting with you as a professional?
I guess it's about, the first time around when I got back to work and I had kids in daycare, and daycare calls you to come and pick them up, and you have to drop everything and go. And I used to apologize a lot and be like, okay, that's okay, I can, and trying to negotiate my time when there's no negotiation. There's a kid that's like sick and he needs you. There's no other choice. He doesn't have anyone else. Like, he's relying on you. But I was like very apologetic, but the second time around I was just like a lot more prepared for it. I wasn't apologizing, but I was a bit more organized, like.
So were you the number one on a call sheet to be called to pick up the kids?
Yes, they have my phone.
So was that the decision of daycare?
I remember my husband filling in the daycare paper, so yes, I'll leave it at that.
I don't know if there was a decision made. I think it's like...
Well, he made the decision that you'd be the number one on a call sheet.
Exactly.
That way, and so were you like, at the time, did you get a phone call to pick up the baby, or was it just normal for you to be the one to be called? Did you find it normal that they called you?
No, I thought it was unfair.
Okay, so you did bring it up to him?
Yeah, for me it was unfair, but I guess, for simplicity, they just,
So would
keep
it
calling
happen?
me. But for me, it's unfair. Like, it's two parents.
Would it happen that sometimes they will call you, but like you wouldn't be able to, and then your husband will take over?
Yeah. We would still manage to but the first call comes to me, and then it's for me to to manage who is going to look after.
Yeah, you're doing the trial.
Okay.
When
So you're still having this mental load to care of.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It's a lot to plan ahead. Okay, Tom, what meetings do you have today? Okay, so I look after, I will look after Hugo in the morning, and you can look after him in the afternoon, or just like having that management piece.
And so then you're having your additional two kids in the family. So then, like, what happened? I'm saying what happened, I know, but just to understand, like, professionally, like, what did you decide and what type of decision?
So when we had the twins, I was, I guess, a lot more at peace with being a mom. So it was like, okay, I'm going to take the full 9 months. And just like, it was a lot of work anyway. So just looking after 3 kids all of a sudden, I was very grateful that I could take this 9 months, and that I had a very good manager at work as well. And I think that really helped me going back, to work, is having like a very supportive manager that was very understanding with like me having to drop everything to pick up a kid from daycare. And never putting any pressure, like always. That's really put me at ease, and I was like able to go back to work peacefully. So I guess that really helped, having a very good manager.
And I think also, like, I want to bring to attention that, like, while you were pregnant, you changed job. And I remember you taking this decision really consciously, because I remember during our conversation, you saying like, hey, I just want to like carry like my mother role, and I want something a bit different where I will be able to like have the mental capacity to do that.
That's right. Yeah. So I used to work, I guess, consulting agency side, where it's a little bit more competitive, and it can be longer hours. And I moved to the industry side, so client side, where I guess there's a bit more work-life balance, and I was very happy with that, even though it was a step back for me, because I wasn't getting as much exposure and as many presentations, and it wasn't as stimulating, and there wasn't as much training, for example. So it did feel like almost like my career was just like, just holding, it was just being very steady for a few years. But I just didn't have the drive that I used to have when I arrived in Australia.
Well, so I was going to ask you, did that impact you emotionally to have your career becoming stagnant like that? But then you just said you no longer had the drive. But did it still bother you?
I think so. I think some part of me was a little bit depressed, to be honest. Like sometimes, because like it's very stagnant that, you know, I ended up working from home most days. So, you know, not very stimulating. I'm not like in a very dynamic environment in an office and like with a lot of colleagues. And it did feel a little bit depressing at some point. I was like, wow, so this is it now? Like I do the minimum work, and then the rest of the time I look after the house, I do the shopping, I do the laundry, and I do all these tasks, and I never ask my husband to do it. And I know it's bad, but I just, by default, I just do it.
So then, because I can hear what you're saying, that there was a part of you that really enjoyed being a mum, but it sounds like there's a part of you that was still wanting to, was still, I guess, missing your old self.
Yes.
And yeah, so how are you with that now, do you think?
Well, I guess because we're actually moving away from Australia, I'm actually quite happy. And I only realized that when I got that job, thinking, oh, wow, okay, so I got a job and we're moving to Europe.
Yeah.
But this job has a bit more responsibilities.
So you got a job because you're moving to Europe, or you moved to Europe, that's why you got you're moving to Europe, that's why you got a job?
I guess we wanted to move to Europe, so we started looking for a job.
Okay.
And the first one who found one, we decided we would go.
Okay, yeah.
So I found this job that's got like obviously more responsibility, and so that will allow me to grow, and just, you know, just this perspective that just makes me so happy. I'm like, finally, I'm gonna be back in the game. Well, sort of, we'll see. But at the same time, I'm like freaking out because I don't know what I'm worth anymore. You know what I mean? Like
What do you mean?
Because I feel like I'm constantly thinking about my children. I'm like, do I still have it? Do I still, like, you know, am I still going to be able to do a presentation in front of like 200 people? Am I still going to be able to, you know, pull out some very interesting insights out of a research? I'm just like, I don't know what my level is anymore.
So when you reflect, do you reflect on that and see if it needs reconciliation, or are you just going with the flow to see what happens?
Always go with the flow, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even have a plan. I don't know how I'm going to reconcile with myself. I'm just, it's going to be a big challenge the next few months, me moving into this job, moving the whole family. So
what does that mean, that your kids are in daycare?
They're going to be in daycare once we find one. But until we find one, it's going to be my husband who's going to be looking after them. So it's been a bit brutal for him as well, because he was at this stage in his career where he was progressing really well. And all of a sudden he has to stop his job to follow his wife overseas. But I guess the plan was to move to Europe. So off we go.
I actually have a different opinion, but I know that there going to be some strong women, not all, that might find that comment problematic. Not to you, because obviously this is your life, you're the, you know, master of your own life, and you can have whatever opinion that you want to have about your own life. But some people might say, in 2025, we should normalize. There is no such thing as following your wife, because she is not your subject. You are equal you both work and you both are earning money. No one's career is more important than the other.
Yeah, but there's still a reality that someone is following someone, because you're going across the world, and because you're going in this destination because the person that you're following has the opportunity. Yes,
but I guess the reason why I wanted to delve into that question a bit more, it was the way that it was said, like follow he was doing so well. I mean, if the shoe was on the other foot, would you say she was doing so well, now she has to follow her husband? Yeah, and how is he feeling about that?
That's interesting. So talking about 2025, I think it was a bit brutal for him. Maybe just having to face his own expectations. He grew up with the image of, the male provider.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, like he didn't expect me to find a job. Basically, he was like, "Oh, I'm quite surprised."
So why was he saying that? Why did he agree with the agreement?
Exactly, that's the thing. I guess maybe he agreed. That's an interesting one. I still don't know why he agreed, because he didn't expect, he thought he was going to finish before me, basically. He thought he was going to cross the finish line before me. But didn't happen that way. So he got caught off. And that was a bit brutal for him to accept that, oh, wow, okay, so now I have no job. Now I have to find something because Flo found something before me. So that was quite, he had to work a lot on his expectations.
And how is he now?
He is getting better, but I think...
Well, you haven't moved yet.
We're still here. He still hasn't...
he hasn't faced the reality.
Work.
He hasn't given notice.
Not yet, but he will. But
And so when's the move supposed to be?
it's supposed to be in 3 months.
Okay.
So we're still within that 4-week notice.
Yeah.
And he still has the time to find a job, to be honest. 3 months.
No, but he has to find the job where you found the job now.
Yes, exactly. Which is, I guess, a lot more limiting than, first one who finds a job, and that first person can basically has whole of Europe.
And then how did you prepare for what is actually going to be the first days for you? I know it's in 3 months, so I'm not sure if you have lined up everything, but how did you prepare for how is going to be the first days, the first weeks for you starting this job and him having to care for the kids?
So I've planned it by having the kids away. So I'm going to have Tom looking after the kids away, and me just being by myself in Geneva to start work. And I'm freaking out because I'm going to be spending 2 weeks without my kids. I've never done this before. So I'm like, oh, how, just because, you're just so strongly attached to these little creatures. Mm-hmm. I'm just panicking a little bit.
So it sounds to me that none of you want to do what it is that you're doing. Why are you punishing yourselves?
That's a good point. Yes. I've already given notice to her. I can't go back. Why are we punishing ourselves?
Well, I think maybe something that we haven't said properly here, they took the decision to go back to Europe. They wanted to be close to family. That was decided irrespective of the job anyway. And then it was I remember Flo talking to me. It was really funny. She's like, Laura, I'm on a race with Tom, the first one getting the job, so help me, let's look at my resume. So
yeah, Laura, I owe this job partly to you.
I don't know if you owed me. You owed it to yourself. You did it yourself. But I remember we talked about that, and she was like, I want, and I think it was mostly about you wanted to make sure that you had a bit of a decision on where you were going to be.
Okay. So that's why you're punishing yourself, because you're not willing to live wherever in Europe.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Because he, he was very focused on some areas that, I wasn't very keen on. For example, I don't know, Paris. There's nothing wrong with Paris, but in my mind, it's just having kids grow up here in Maroubra next to the beach. I just want to keep that nature environment.
Yeah.
But Tom was really focused on Paris, and I was like, no, I don't want to end up there. So that was a big motivation.
Oh, okay.
And they were also like Africa.
Yes, Morocco. Yes, that was one of the countries on the list. The idea for Tom was to have a helper at home.
Okay.
And so obviously, you know, when you live in Singapore or Morocco, there's these countries where you can afford.
In Singapore, have you
In
seen how
Singapore.
expensive that Singapore is?
It is, but apparently you can like
Get a au pair.
get a helper quite
For cheap? Oh wow, I didn't know
yeah.
because Singapore. Every time I stop there, I'm just like, this is for rich people. This city is for rich people.
Oh, well, I'm super excited, but also really bummed about you and your departure. So let's not talk too much about that. Going back on your career and, you know, like how you've been able to balance with like literally your two careers as a mom, but also as a professional. What would you say were the things that have been helping you to be able to manage, if you were able to manage?
Oh, sorry, I didn't even ask. What are you doing now for work?
So I'm still doing the same thing. I'm still doing research.
Yeah.
But I'm working in the public transport industry. So just doing research on like passengers' experience with the transport. So yeah, still the same job.
Oh, okay.
But I haven't progressed, I guess.
Oh, so this is the job that you're bored of?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Because I'm not challenged enough.
Okay.
I feel like I'm not learning anymore and I'm not progressing. So, but at the same time, I just don't have that, you know, drive or ambition that I had before.
Okay. And to answer then Laura's question about what you've just said, is it that you feel, and is this why you're more focused on the being a mum now? You're more loving this role now, do you think?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Just being more comfortable. And also, you know, 3 kids, you don't have much choice. It's a lot to...
Do you know, this might come a bit controversial here in the world of feminism, but I'm willing to, you know, be burned at the stake by our listeners. Do you know, being a mother, do you not feel that you may, like, something has to give? I think to do both at the same time, particularly when you have twins, 15-month-old twins and a 3-year-old, working and then looking after the kids and working seriously to actually provide, that is doing like 90% of the work in your life, like in your partnership, in your family. That's a lot of work.
It does. Like, it is mentally quite, you know, draining.
Yeah, because it's just one body you have.
And then, like, back to my question, actually, like, what are the strategy that you put in place for you to, because like you still mentioned it earlier, like, oh, I felt like I'm way much more efficient now when I'm working, even if like I have kids, I'm able to be like on time. Like, what's the strategy that you're using, and also what are the things that the sacrifice that you have to do to be able to maintain some sort of balance?
I guess being more organized. Like, it's like running a company. I just have to.
I believe it, yeah.
Except the company never stops. It's like from Monday to Sunday, from 6 a.m. until 8 p.m.
And you're the CEO and you're paid like shit.
And is this?
I have to pay daycare.
and does the CEO get a day off?
No.
In
no
which
Yeah.
company have you
off.
seen a CEO taking a day off?
And I guess...
Well, they've always got some house in some island somewhere. That I mean, you're not getting those benefits. So.
Exactly. No. It's it's a very tough job. But I guess, what's helping? Well, we have an au pair because we realized that we need some help. Like, we have to stop thinking that we can do it all. And it was actually, you know, we were seeing, for example, Alex, the eldest, who was like, his behavior was becoming worse and worse. Like he was becoming, quite violent. And that's probably because we didn't take the time with him. It was just me and Tom looking after the twins.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of adults to raise a kid. So we were like, okay, we need more adults in this house.
Yeah.
So we got an au pair. And since then, his behavior has been improving. So I think that has played a part. But yeah, I think, acknowledging that you need help.
So would you say, you mentioned you and Tom were looking after the twins together. Would you say that how would you, in percentage-wise ratio, how would you say your responsibilities in terms of childcare is split?
I think it's pretty fair, to be honest.
Yeah.
Now, there's no choice. There's just so many kids to look after that he has to help. Like, we don't do any more single parenting, as we used to call it. When we used to have just Alex, we were able to be just one parent with Alex, and the other one could go for a run or, could go out. But right now with 3 kids, it's just for their safety. It needs to be the 2 of us all the time. So I think it's very fair. And to be honest, I find that Tom is a really good dad in the sense that he's putting the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's not trying to dodge it or anything. He finds it hard to be a good dad and to have a career at the same time.
Oh, interesting.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
He finds it hard because he wishes he could stay at work, for example, after 5 p.m. He doesn't have to rush back to school to pick up Alex.
Yeah, okay.
Same trying to, log back in after all the kids are in bed at 8 p.m. and trying to get back into work. That's a bit tough. You just want a break. So yeah, there's some parts that he finds quite challenging, but yeah, no, I think he is doing a good job, to be honest. I'll give him this. He's a good dad.
And all the impact of now having 3 kids, trying to manage both your careers, has impacted your relationship as a couple?
Yes, that's an interesting question. As a couple, I feel like we're trying not to lose ourselves too much. And just listening to each other as well, and talking and having some very deep conversations about, how we feel, what we're experiencing. So, yeah, that's a bit tough. We're trying to find having that quality time and this quality conversation because we're just knackered. Sometimes we do try to have a date in the evening, but we go to bed at 9 p.m. So when we're at the restaurant and it's 9 p.m. we're just we're so tired. The conversations are not great, to be honest.
Do you know Michelle Obama said something, I think about 2 years ago, she said how she hated her husband for about 10 years while the kids were
Wow.
Because this not similar thing because you're still working, but for her it was that he could go out and really push his career, and she was this accomplished lawyer at the time, and although it was a decision for them to have a baby, but she was very resentful of him that she could go out and do it. But then she speaks of it to say that it was okay for her to hate him for those 10 years because although she didn't like him very much for those 10 years, they've been together for, I don't know, 30 years. I don't know how long they've been together, but she still was saying how it's still worthwhile going through the hard parts and not to put too much expectations of yourself. I guess that's what I want to say, follow-up. So not to put so much expectation that we have to, our intimacy have to be strong throughout the whole time, because I don't know how you do it, because after running after 3 kids, don't touch me. I don't know how you are trying to do all of that. Yeah.
Exactly. Sometimes you just want to be by yourself.
Which kind of advice would you give to a new mother that's is just starting on the journey, probably, or to a pregnant woman that is about to go in the same journey as you, having to balance career and relationship, your household, your family, your friends?
Yes. Oh, that's a good one. I wish someone told me it was going to be this difficult. Just get as much support and as possible, like whether it's your family or your friends, and have a very strong community, because it does take a lot of people to raise children. And also, like at work, have the support from your manager. It's really important, I think, to be able to perform well at work while dropping everything to go and pick up a kid that's sick at daycare. To be able to manage that, you need to have like a very good and very supportive and understanding manager. But yeah, no, a good manager will tell you that they understand, that they will be flexible, I guess, with the deadline, something that works with you.
Okay, yeah. In my country of origin, Congo, men are not promoted unless maybe it's changed now, but my father used to tell me that back in the day, like, you're not really considered for promotion unless you have a family.
Why is that?
And Oprah, because you've got more mouths to feed and you're a responsible man. Similarly to how a lot of people base their votes on. So it's an old patriarchal tradition. A lot of people are base their votes on a president if he has a family.
Yeah.
Right.
That shows that there is kids behind. He's a
responsible, moral guy. Yeah. So yes, and they know that your wife is the backbone. He will look after the family. Nobody expects any president to pick up their kid from daycare in the middle of a G7 meeting.
To your point, something has to give in. You can't have it all. It's not.
I can't believe
that. What do you think that you have given?
Something has to.
What in your specific journey? What are the thing that you think you have given?
All my energy and all my time goes to my kids now, and I guess I just have less time for myself, and maybe there's a little bit less of me.
When you say like you had to give in the energy, and that the energy like now it's drawn into your kids and you raising your kids, like did it have an impact on your career and you like maybe having less of a drive? Or
yeah, I think so. Just having like less time to think about work. When before I just had all this time to, continue in the back of my mind, continue thinking about projects and clients. All of a sudden I'm thinking about, I need to cook some pasta pesto for Alex because that's all he eats.
Honestly, and I think for any of the moms in the same situation as Flo, I think it's okay to give yourself that grace in this period of time.
That's tough. But
oh my God, we sound like anti-feminists up here.
Steph, what you said really, it reminds me of what my mum told me. It's like, it's okay, Flo, like, because I've always told her, but Mom, my career, like, I feel like I'm not in it anymore. And she was like, Flo, it's okay. It's a time in your life. You'll never get it back. So you'll never regret spending all that time and energy in your...
Just to like, I think we're approaching to the wrap up now. Like to reflect a little bit on like all the journey that you went through, or as you experience as a mother and a professional contributed to your personal growth, and what have you learned about yourself during this journey?
I learned that having kids, nothing. Like, I think I know. I'm 38 years old, and I feel like I know less than when I was bloody 20 years old or 30 years old with no kids. Just because they teach you so much every day.
I mean, that's the blessing that everyone talks about, right?
It is. It's like, you're trying to teach them something, and then you're like, oh, but I have to do it too. I have to, model that behavior.
Yeah.
And what did that bring you into your career, into like your professional journey as well? And I'm keen to do the relation of that, because like I want to bring like the motherhood aspect into the fact that, you know, you're a career woman?
I guess, you know, being a mom helped me build up my organizational skills, and that's really useful for work. So I guess there's that, and being more assertive as well, and, you know.
Assertive.
Yes.
In which way?
Because, you know, all the time I have to be very assertive with Alex when he's about to, slap his brother or whatever. And that's really useful at work as well, I find. Just being a bit more direct and, you know, efficient, because at 4:30 I have to go, so we have to resolve this issue pretty quickly now.
Okay.
That's really good, because like it's really around boundaries as well that you're able to set up.
Yeah, exactly. It's about boundaries.
Thank you so much, Flo, for like everything that you brought us to the pod today, and all your stories. It was really, really insightful. Just to finish and wrap up on this time, like, what's next for you? I understand like you're going to Europe, getting this job. Like, what are you excited about these new opportunities?
I'm just really excited to see my kids growing in the mountains. Just because, you know, I just think all they need is nature at this age. And so, yeah, just changing complete different environment, going from the beach to the mountain, and having a job that's a bit more challenging as well. Let's see how I go with that, if I pass the probation period or not.
But you're more excited about seeing your kids.
That's so interesting. I was thinking the same thing. I'm asking her about like what's exciting about those opportunities.
Yes.
And she talked about like her kids. Yes. Amazing.
Well, good on you, but it sounds like it's just a natural thing for you. So that's what you get. That's where you get your joy. That's where you get your joy.
Yeah. That's true. But part of me still wants, you know, to have something else.
Well, yeah.
And you will get it.
You will get it. Okay. Thank you, Flo. Well, that's the close of this week's circle. If you have taken anything from this conversation, do let us know in the comment section. If you have any question you like our opinion on, you can email us on the @gmail.com. That's the @gmail.com. Join us next week in a new circle. Until then, have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you.